Good afternoon, and welcome back to Goober Brothers Entertainment. And with me this morning is the Groovinator from Raiders of the Lost Flicks, Adam. How are you doing, my man?
Hello.
Clink, clink.
I'm trying to get as much clink clink as that ice as I could.
Oh, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be going over the Spongebob movie, Sponge on the Run trailer for 2020 release. Personally, I love SpongeBob, and I've watched it since I was a little kid, and I still watch it to this day. I quote SpongeBob all the time, and just like I do Family Guy almost, and there's just so many good moments and memes and memories for SpongeBob. And if you're my age, you definitely grew up with it. I mean, you know it, front to back, except for the new seasons probably because they kind of went downhill a little bit, but their movies are always really good.
And I had a girlfriend that likes SpongeBob. Does that count?
That does count, I guess.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, she knew more about it than I did. Like she'd be watching SpongeBob.
But SpongeBob, the first movie that came out in 2004, they always do different stuff, animation styles for the movies, and the 2004 movie was a little bit different than the show, but they kept it for the most part. It's the same. You can tell just the look of it's a little bit different, but the quality of it is amazing. That first one is just incredible. And then they did a couple other holiday movies. So they did a Christmas one. They also did a Halloween one, and they're kind of in the claymation style, but they're good ones. And then they came out a few years back. I forgot, what was it, 2012, 2013? It was Sponge Out of Water. And the whole movie, animation, just like a normal style SpongeBob episode. And then once they go out of water, they do somewhat similar animation style to what we're about to see and hear. This one is a little bit different. It looks like a mix of that animation plus the claymation, even though it's not claymation. But
are all the original voices reprising their roles?
Yes, so Tom Kenny is still doing SpongeBob. Same guy for Patrick, I forgot his name. Roger Bumpus for Squidward. Same guy for all these characters. And
cool.
They're going to be adding some new voices in here. So if you know who Tom Kenny is, Tom Kenny does a bunch of different voices for just tons and tons of cartoon characters. And he's on Adventure Time, and he's on a couple other Nickelodeon shows. He's on a Disney. I think he's on some Disney stuff too. I can't remember, but great voice actor, really cool guy. And I met Roger Bumpus, the guy that does Squidward. I met him a couple years ago at Tampa Bay Comic-Con. He is really, really nice guy. I did the whole "is mayonnaise an instrument" conversation with him. I don't know if you remember that.
No. I'm sorry, man. SpongeBob came out a little bit after I was like older and not really watching cartoons anymore, so I apologize. But
It's all good.
I am aware of the cultural icon that he is, and I have seen clips that I do think are funny.
People meme the fuck out of that that scene.
Oh, I use some of those memes myself just because I think they're funny.
It's basically that episode. It's Squidward's cousin comes into town. And Squidward loves music, and he loves playing the clarinet, but he's fucking awful at it. And he thinks he's a really, creative musical genius, and he's very artsy, but he's kind of artsy fartsy to where he kind of sucks.
So he's a hipster.
Yeah, Squidward is a depressed hipster. He hates everyone. He's always sad, and he's always like, "I hate everyone." And he says that in episodes. Like there's one episode he hands a guy a baseball bat as he's working the cash register at the Krusty Krab, and he's like, "Hit me as hard as you can. Don't hold back." But he makes a band, a marching band, to play at the halftime show for the Bubble Bowl, which is just the Super Bowl underwater. And he has to impress his cousin because his cousin's like super, super fancy, and he's actually a success, and he's everything Squidward aspires to be. So he like gets all these people from Bikini Bottom together for open tryouts, and they all suck. And then as soon as he goes to play Bubble Bowl, everybody's like amazing. and SpongeBob starts singing, and Patrick's on the drums like out of nowhere, and they're like, "What the?" He's like, "What the fuck?" And then one of the scenes where they're practicing, he's like, "Does anybody have questions?" And then Patrick raises his hand and he goes, "What, Patrick?" And then he goes, "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" And then he goes, "No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument." And then he raises his hand again. "Horseradish isn't an instrument either." "That's fine. Nobody bother." So, but again, yeah, everybody's coming back for the same voices and everything. They haven't changed. Girl that does Sandy Cheeks and all of those people. So, without further ado, let's watch the SpongeBob Sponge on the Run trailer.
Olé.
I'm not gonna. There you go.
I love my life. I love you so much, Gary. I'll never forget the day we met.
Ready! Hello, little snail. What's your name? Gary, huh? Do you want to be friends? Me too.
Nice.
Gary, I'm home. Gary? Gare Bear? Gary? Oh, Gary! Have you seen Gary?
Nope.
Nope.
Gary's been snail napped.
Next year, the search begins.
Friends don't let friends go on dangerous quests alone.
With all
Patty
new
Mobile.
faces.
Hello. Call me Sage.
Good name.
I'm made out of sage and I am a sage. So it works out pretty well.
I'm Patrick. My name means toaster in Celtic.
Pretty sure it doesn't.
The most
I love Keanu Reeves.
Lord City of Atlantic City.
Boy, I hope we don't lose focus.
Look, I wouldn't worry about us losing.
cotton candy.
Ice cream.
Gross. And a hero
Let it ride, Patrick! Let it ride! Go!
Jesus.
can bet on.
Put it on L.
Patrick, that's not an L, that's a 7.
7 starts with an L. Oh, that's weird.
The SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run.
This is gonna be like a buddy movie.
Oh, I love your sense of irony, Patrick.
Thank you. I love my sense of ironing too.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Looks
man.
like a good time, buddy.
It does. So I'm really excited. This whole movie. So the first SpongeBob movie, they had a Krabby Patty mobile. So and they pickles for wheels and shit. Same thing. This movie feels a lot like the first one, just with a different animation style. So I prefer the older animation style. But
Yeah, I do
think
too.
I think they're gonna do a good job with this, and I'm up for it. As long as they keep the voices the same, the writing's still good. I don't mind the animation change. And like I said,
I hate to
they've
be like
changed-
one of those old guys, like those were the good old days, but I do miss old animation, man.
I do, too,
You know,
yeah.
because it reminds you when you were a kid, and it's like everything looks like a 3D computer image, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, I honestly think it just looks better, the older animation.
and well, you know that people took the time to draw it and animate it, and that
Yeah.
stuff is not easy, and it's gotten so outdated that they've literally had to go and dig people out of mothballs that know how to do that, because nobody does that kind of animation anymore. I mean,
Yeah, it's
you
just not consistent, and it was also more about the writing and jokes than
Yes,
than
the comedic
style.
timing.
Yeah. And now it's kind of gone downhill, but I still like SpongeBob. I'll still watch the new episodes if I see them on TV, but it's still not the
You
same
ever,
as the
like,
older one. But
You ever have like family over, like little kids, and they're watching cartoons? You like walk through the room, you watch like a couple of minutes of it, and just you wonder, how do we get to this?
exactly, yeah.
Am I the only
I'll-
one that feels like that? Yeah.
yeah, I have little second cousins that will watch stuff like that, and I'm just like,
It's like I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to,
like Teen Titans Go.
right. I'm not going to be a bummer, and ruin their fun, because they probably, adults probably thought the same way about some of the cartoons I used to watch, and I'm not going to
Yep.
do that.
Yep, same here.
Dude, I used to love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh God, loved it.
fucking awesome. I love Ninja Turtles.
G.I. Joe, Transformers. I used to watch those like crazy. Every single one. I had to
All
hurry
good
up, get home
shows.
from. I had to go home from hurry up, and get home from school so I could watch G.I. Joe and Transformers in that order.
They're all good shows, man.
I loved it. Absolutely loved
But
it.
yeah, like you said, the animation style, it was just, I think it was more work. There's more heart put into it. And you can see that the style of animation nowadays with modern shows that started recently, not shows that have gone from SpongeBob. From
Right.
1999 till now, it's gone down. But shows that start within the last decade, it's all lazy, like drawing and animation style. Just kind of weird.
It's like it has to be like really super light too.
Very
so that
hollow.
it doesn't overstimulate the kids. It's like,
Exactly.
come on, man. Can't they have some laughs?
It's lame.
But then again, I think when I grew up, I watched a lot of cartoons that were like way older than me, like Tom and Jerry's and Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was my favorite, but I know the Bugs Bunnies that I was watching when I was a little kid in the 70s were like from the 40s. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I had that dynamic. I was watching cartoons that like were way, way older than I was. So
I watched that stuff too when I was a kid. I used to watch like Boomerang shows and Tom and Jerry.
But then again, when I was a little kid,
Flintstones.
people weren't afraid of clowns like they are now either. Like clowns were okay. Like if you saw somebody wearing clown makeup, you were supposed to laugh at them. And now it's like
I always
clowns
thought
are
they were just
like
kind of
this-
weird.
right?
Like
yeah,
they weren't ever really funny when I was a kid. And this was before I saw it as a kid. Like,
Yeah, I think it kind of ruined clowns forever. It really
yeah, for sure he did. But before I even saw the movie, I'd see clowns and I'm like, I don't get why it's funny. They just kind of weirded me out. They were
did.
just like
The
overly
makeup and stuff. Yeah,
they were overly friendly and just it didn't
goofy
make sense.
costumes.
I'd rather see somebody at Universal Studios in a SpongeBob costume and say hi to him,
Yeah.
give him a high five. I'd rather go to like one of those characters at a theme park. But yeah, man, SpongeBob looks really fucking good. Let's do this today. Now, I mentioned to you off air. As a bonus, we're gonna do the Sonic trailer.
the revised.
The
Sonic
revised
trailer.
revised.
We had to
Sonic.
go back to the drawing board because the internet said it sucked. And it makes me happy because it's like, at least you're listening to your audience.
Exactly. And
I'm gonna give you a props for that. You listen to your audience, you're like, oh wow, they don't like that. They're not gonna just like fight with us and say, oh well, you just don't understand. You don't know what you like until we tell you what it is or whatever,
Yeah.
So
Pulling a Taika Waititi and
Taika.
douchebag. I can't stand that shit. Just making sure Pete's not coming in. Okay.
Tiki Waitutu.
Yeah, I don't want Pete hanging out backstage while we're still doing this shit. He's like, where the fuck are they going to add me?
getting on there and doing his Waititi impressions. Yeah.
Oi, Taco Tuesday, how you doing? Pete's way better.
I'm not going to try that. I'm not even going to attempt that. I will bungle that all the way down the stairs, sir.
So, Sonic the Hedgehog. I've seen this trailer already.
I have not.
I think it looks great.
This
And
will be my
haven't.
first time. Yeah,
All
I was going to do a trailer reaction on my channel. Now I probably won't be able to do it because it won't be genuine. Usually my trailer reactions are literally the first time I've seen anything.
Do you want to save it until then?
No. Go ahead and do it. And based on what I see, if I have something to say about it, I'll do a trailer reaction because I've got other videos I can make. So
Okay, awesome. So, before we watch it, I just want to say I'm totally supporting this movie. Never really been into the Sonic games. I got one for like the PSP years ago, and I didn't even open it out of the wrapper because I didn't really care that much about Sonic. But it looks now, looking back at it, it's probably a fun game. I just never thought too much.
They made a
Sonic.
Sonic game a couple years ago that's really good.
Really?
I'm trying to remember what exactly it's called because there's so many Sonic games that all the titles blur together. But yeah, it's a throwback to the classics. And classic Sonic the Hedgehog, because like I had buddies, I didn't have a Sega Genesis growing up, so I didn't play Sonic, but I had friends that did. And we kind of started this thing, me and friends of mine when I was a little kid. that they always have a different system than somebody else. So that if a new game came out, we could like split our money and share and get a new game. And then whoever has the system, we just go over there and play it. That was like the way we would save money and be able to play all this stuff. So friends of mine had Sonic the Hedgehog. I thought that was the best game on the Genesis. Like I loved playing it, just the whole thing with the rings and spinning in a circle and all that. But yeah, good times.
No, Sonic is definitely classic, and I know a lot of people don't like it. It's kind of hit or miss.
Well, a lot of people
are
strayed off the course. Like they stopped, like whereas Mario has always been consistent, Sonic has like gone in so many different directions and been developed by so many different studios that some Sonic, it's just like, just because it's a blue, a blue hedgehog doesn't necessarily make it the game. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like they keep trying to do different things, trying to reinvent the wheel.
And they need to not do that.
Yeah.
Before we watch it real quick, I just want to point out that he's doing the Naruto run.
Sonic is doing the Naruto run.
I'm Sonic, a little ball of super energy in an extremely handsome package. On my planet, people were always after my powers, so I came to yours. It gets a little lonely, but that's okay. I am living my best life on Earth. No! At the place Sonic! At the Pitcher's Mound also Sonic! Ugh, I can't with that guy. Uh-oh. Super Sonic! Why are you hiding out in my garage? They're coming for me! If they steal my power, they could conquer the universe. You have to help me. No, I don't. Please. It's life or death. Super Sonic!
Good morning, my rural
There he is.
Dr. Robotnik. I'm going to give you 5 seconds.
Legend.
Wait! Don't hurt him!
I'm so glad we got another movie with Jim Carrey in it.
I know.
What's happening to me?
I know.
Stop the car right now! What? The world's largest rubber band ball? We gotta see it!
No, this is not some fun family road trip.
You're right. It was lame. Gift shop was cool, though.
Whatever this creature is, I'm going to uncover the source of its power.
Yeah,
Oh, yes. Now that's Jim Carrey, I remember. Right there. See what he does with his body?
You might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk. Of course I want a latte. I love the way you make them!
we gotta lay low. Let me show you how it's done. So should we get out of here?
Yeah, time to go.
I always want to do this. Nailed it! Uh-oh. Let's go! Here comes the boom!
That was cool.
How are you not dead?
I have no idea!
Oh, give me a big, fat break!
Yes.
That was an illegal left, by the way.
Aw, this one is cute. Let's keep him. Oh, come on! You've got car insurance, right? Let's speak up.
Why would you throw your life away for this silly little alien?
Good time.
He's my friend.
Let's go! This is my power. And I'm using it to protect my friends. Let's go! Let's go!
Wow. Talk about day and night.
You're supposed to be Tom's best friend that he won't shut up about. Well, I don't see the appeal. That is very gross. Let's go!
Isn't that so much better than the other one?
Okay, imagine that. Imagine that. You put your trailer out there, the internet instantly hates it, and you say, okay, cool, we got this. And then you go back and you come out and you're like, was this what you were looking for? And everybody's like, yay! Wouldn't it be nice if everything worked that way?
Dude, what's crazy is that fucking Star Wars can't even get that right.
That's what I mean, dude. It's like you put that Star Wars trailer out, that new one, and I'm just like, what am I watching, man?
They
I'm
have
like,
way more money than the studio.
You know, the biggest difference between, I don't want to turn this into a Star Wars chat again, but as long as we're there, all right, as long as we're there, all right. When I saw the trailers for The Last Jedi, I was excited. The trailers were not bad. The movie was bad, okay, because all the best stuff was in the trailer. The trailer for Rise of Skywalker is ridiculously bad. and the movie's not even out yet. You know what I mean? So it's like the internet. I think it's like polarizing on that. I think it's like half people like it and half people don't. I don't like the new trailer for Rise of Skywalker. I mean, I kind of didn't want to see it anyway, but after seeing that trailer, I realized that I'm not going to be missing anything. You know what I mean?
Not many people like it at all.
Bringing it back to this one here, watching the original and just like making me scream when I saw that hedgehog. Like, what the hell is that? It looks like a furry nightmare, like a nightmare for furries. Even
exactly.
Like,
and I can see what they were trying to do. They were trying to get just like if the Sonic the Hedgehog creature was kind of from Earth, but not.
Yeah,
it could blend in well, like as like an Earth creature as well.
Right. And you're doing the
kind
fish out of water thing,
it.
But as long as you're making it a comedy, it could work. And I'm with you on
they
the
just
Jim
went
Carrey.
they went way too far with it.
I'm with you on Jim Carrey. I would love to see him come back to doing comedy again. I know he doesn't really like doing comedy anymore, but damn it, he's so good at it, though. It's like he does funny things with his body that a lot of comedians can't duplicate.
And he makes people happy, and that's
yes, exactly.
Besides his politics and besides his outside the movie studio,
his
like,
social
weirdness,
life is a disaster,
and that's up to you to decide whether it's weird or not. Everybody listening, but my God, if we can all agree that he makes people so happy, he's made people's childhood, awesome, filled with laughter.
I come from that era where we would go see the new Jim Carrey movie. You know what I mean?
The first Jim Carrey movie I ever saw was The Mask.
The first one I ever saw was Ace Ventura, and I still love the hell out of that movie to this day.
Amazing movies.
It is amazing.
Amazing.
The Mask, Ace Ventura When Nature Calls,
Liar.
There was a lot of them for a while that came out, and then
Yes Man was good.
I didn't see that one.
I like Yes Man.
But I liked a lot of his movies. And
The Grinch.
I didn't like The Grinch, dude.
What?
No, I don't like his version of The Grinch. It wasn't bad because of him. It was just a bad movie because it felt like I was watching a Tim Burton movie, not directed by Tim Burton. I thought The Grinch was terrifying.
Dude, it's fucking
That was
hilarious.
not my favorite version of The Grinch, man. That was just really
love that movie.
That was a waste of Jim Carrey because there's a lot of movies that I've seen Jim Carrey in where I love The Truman Show. That one was a little bit more serious, but I liked him in it. Did not really get into Man on the Moon because I just don't understand Andy Kaufman. I do think Jim Carrey was great in that movie, but I didn't really care about the character enough to get into it. I always thought Andy Kaufman was kind of strange. So I guess he's like that kind of humor where you're either, it's like Zach Galifianakis, like you're either in on the humor or you're not.
Zach Galifianakis.
Yes, Elephantitis, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't get him. I don't get him. Okay, so it's like some people do and some people don't. Kind of like I was saying about
he's overly sarcastic and awkward, and that's why a lot of people like
that's
him.
That's his whole shtick. And awkward humor is like hit or miss with me, and there's
he's really good at being a sissy too.
There's too much of it now, that awkward humor. I think it's replaced a lot of like standard good timing jokes and stuff like that. But
he's better at it, I think, than most people.
With Jim Carrey, he dominated our TV sets in the 90s, man, when he was on In Living Color. And believe it or not, he was actually turned down for Saturday Night Live.
That's
like he didn't make the audition. And I'm thinking of all the people that should have been on Saturday Night Live for like 8 seasons, it would have been Jim Carrey. Because when Jim Carrey was on In Living Color, he was the star of that fucking show. Like everybody loved it when he was on the set. And he had all kinds of different characters that he would play. And he would just do stuff like, there's like a running joke on that show where when you watch people on the news and they're like filming somebody, there's always somebody in the background like that just realizes for the first time they're on live TV and they start doing stupid stuff and making faces or whatever. They would do that like over and over. And Jim Carrey would always be the guy that'd be back there and he'd be doing like impressions of actors and shoving pieces of paper in his mouth and just doing all. And no matter what he did, I was always like busting out laughing, dude. He's so funny.
He just has such like good chemistry with.
And it looks like some of that 90s like Jim Carrey is going to be back in this, and that makes me happy.
I hope so. And I hope I hope it's like he hasn't missed a beat.
I'm hoping it doesn't come off like, at least from what I saw from the trailer, I'm hoping it looks like he doesn't feel like I'm in this shit movie, because sometimes you can be in a shit movie and elevate it. And I'm hoping he can elevate this because this trailer looks good. Okay, I enjoyed that trailer a lot. If there's more of that in this movie, then that's something that I want to go see.
I already want to go see it. Just the fact alone that they took their time. And listen, most movie studios, they don't treat movies like a piece of art. They treat it
Amen.
like just like some piece of shit thing they want to make money. They
Mhm.
put some big name actors in it. They slap a logo on it, and they're like, "This is gonna make me money, so we can do more movies similar to this, make the same bullshit, make it worse probably."
Well, they just
And
want to
then
print. Yeah, they want to print money. They don't have any heart or soul into anything that they're making. And I know that can be said about a lot of business, but it's just they don't want to take the time to analyze why somebody likes this or somebody likes that. It's like you can make more of that kind of thing, but
And
don't
here's the-
just doesn't have to be a sequel. You know?
Oh, exactly. And here's the thing: this movie, I don't know how good it'll be. I'm hoping it'll be awesome. And I'm not expecting it to be like this groundbreaking, like, oh, this is going to be a deal breaker for video game movies. But this has the potential as a family movie, because I think we can all agree this is going to be a good movie for everybody, not just, not just
Yeah.
kids, but
I'm kind of hoping that this
has
this could be something that'll have Jim Carrey crawl out of his slump with. You know what I mean?
think this can be one of the best video game movies ever made, because there's not many good video game movies.
Right. That's a
And
low
this-
bar to get
this could-
across.
It is. It's a low. Yeah, it's low. So if they can get up on, if they can be better than the Assassin's Creed movie or the
Oh God.
the
Tomb Raider,
the
all
Silent
the
Hill
Tomb Raiders.
movies, which I mean, Silent Hill's not bad.
No, Silent Hill's pretty decent, but it's still.
But if
a
they
lot of
can
these
be
are just
above Silent Hill, and if they can, if they can do way more with these video game movies, making them enjoyable for families and for everybody, not even just kids, like I said. Just like Star Wars, it's for everybody, not just kids. Sorry,
Right.
Freddie Prinze. But
yeah, it's not Space Wizards.
But some of the
Sell
best
toys
movies
to kids. Yeah.
exactly. Some of the best movies aren't just for kids, even though a lot of the marketing and products towards that movie are geared towards kids. The best movies are for everybody.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings is for everybody. It's not for little kids, because I think we can agree that little kids probably won't find it cool. But I was a kid when I first saw it. I was like 7 or 8 when I first saw Lord of the Rings, and I loved it. But it's a movie for everybody. My grandpa, who was in his 80s,
Yeah, it's a
saw
very old
those,
story.
and
yeah.
he loves them.
When I went
was-
to college at Illinois Central Community College, ICC in Peoria, Illinois, that school actually had a Tolkien class back then. This was like 93.
That is cool.
So this predates any Peter Jackson's movies. There was a Tolkien class that you could take is like a humanities type course. I'm like, a whole Tolkien class. But yeah, that was a thing.
But I mean, if you want to understand good writing, you take a class on
that was part of it.
a
yeah.
good I know they at my school they have a Harry Potter class, and they go over all the books, and they sort everybody into the different houses. Like they have a Hogwarts, like Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and all the class gets divided up, and they like try to score more points than the other people doing assignments or projects or whatever. And it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And you understand the writing and the characters and character development and everything, and you analyze it. And that's very smart to do.
I had some strange classes too, dude. I was a journalist major, and one of my classes was an independent study, which means I didn't have like an actual classroom that I sat down in. I met with a teacher like once or twice a week, and my whole assignment for an entire semester was to you're familiar with Watergate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My whole assignment was to try to figure out who Deep Throat was and explain why I believed who it was. It was like a report. So, and first I thought it was the stupidest thing ever, but then after I started reading books about it, I got like really invested in it. Like I was there, and I A+ that. That was like the easiest A+ I ever got. When you're interested in something, you don't feel like you're working, so.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. It was a good time.
my the weirdest class I took was probably dance history.
In high school, man, I took a horticulture class. That was awful. It was so
A what?
awful. A horticulture. It's like plants and how to grow things.
Oh
And
God.
I took it because I thought it'd be easy. And it wasn't hard. It's just it was so boring, like amazingly boring. And also, I thought if I took that class, I might be like maybe the only guy in there, and there'd be a bunch of girls in there. Like learn. This was my mentality back in when I was like 16, 17. Like there'd probably be a bunch of girls in there, and maybe it'd be an easy class. And what I found out was it was a classroom full of people that thought the exact same thing I did, all dudes.
Man.
So just me and a bunch of dumbass dudes trying to grow plants for a grade.
Growing that kush.
Yeah, pretty much. I never been in a class of more gangbangers in my entire life. So bad.
I also want to add on to the whole Sonic movie that it's similar to SpongeBob. The studios are trying to make a good movie that's for everybody, kids mainly. I mean, it's a little cartoon movie, and you can tell just by the feel and the type of movie that it's going to be.
They're at least trying to analyze something, because like the best kids movies are the ones where the adults can take the kids to the movies, and then the adults don't leave just like with a complete headache.
Exactly. My parents loved the SpongeBob movie, the first one.
Right.
They thought it was fucking hilarious.
In fact, when my parents took me to see Star Wars, they thought that was a kid's movie, and then they walked away like, "Wow, we really enjoyed that movie."
Exactly.
It appealed to both crowds.
Exactly. And SpongeBob, they, like I said, the TV show kind of is weird now. There's a damn bug flying around my office, and it's really annoying me.
State bird?
Nah, it's just a little, I don't know. It's like a gnat or some shit. Whatever. Anyways, fucking kill this thing.
God, Gilbert, you're so violent.
When it comes to bugs, dude, yes, I am. And snakes. I fucking hate all those. But anyways,
maybe I should let you wear my Indiana Jones hat.
Fucking probably need it, dude. Make me braver.
Why do they have to be snakes?
Oh my god! But what was I saying? Oh yeah, but they always hit the nail on the head when it comes to the movies with SpongeBob. So you can tell the studio and Nickelodeon really does care about SpongeBob, even though they've been stretching it out with really weird TV show ideas. The movies really are, they're clever, and they're a lot of fun. And same with Sonic. And the studio's taken a lot of time into making sure Sonic looks right, making sure everybody's happy with them. Because if you just release a movie and you're ignorant and everybody hates it and you think it's good, but everyone and their mom thinks it's bad, then you're not going to make money.
Yep.
And you're not going to have another job directing another movie.
That's what we got from Terminator Dark Fate.
That's what we got from Terminator Dark Fate.
The bad trailer, and rather than listen to the responses and the concerns of the trailer reactions, which were mostly negative, the studio decided to double down on the movie, and it's lost money.
Oh, it's pathetic.
Worldwide, it has lost money. There is no audience out there for that movie whatsoever. None.
Nobody wants to see the franchise die.
The only people that showed up, the only people from what I understand that showed up to see Dark Fate were fans of the franchise or fans of the original that wanted to see Linda Hamilton again and Arnold back on the screen. That's the only people that showed up. Like I said, when I went to go see the show, it was mostly old people in there.
It's just like Jurassic Park, like the Fallen Kingdom movie. They were like, "Oh, Jeff Goldblum's in it," and he was in it for 30 seconds.
I was at the very
sucks ass.
I was at the very first showing for Terminator Dark Fate. I think there was probably like maybe 10, 15 people in there, and they were all about my age or older.
There's only about 10 people in there?
Yeah, like I'd say, we'll see if I'm actually not including the Cinebistro, which is upstairs. I didn't do a Cinebistro for that one because I just didn't feel like spending extra money on it. So
I bet there's less people in that one than the one.
Most people will go to Cinebistro just for something to do. They don't really care if the movie's shit or not. So upstairs there might have been maybe 15, maybe another 15. So let's just say 30 altogether in the theater.
Okay.
On Halloween night, and that was the first showing. So
Halloween night.
Halloween night is when I went and saw it. Yeah.
That's a
So,
stupid time to release a movie.
It was a terrible time to release a movie.
Unless it's the Halloween movie.
I was actually waiting for somebody to come out and say that that's why it failed. Like, well, maybe we shouldn't release it on Halloween. I'm like, do you think? You know, I mean, technically it was November 1st release date, but they always do the
More or
Thursday.
less. That's the least like
Right.
biggest.
The
that's
Thursday is
least,
always
you know,
the sneak
reason for it to
preview,
explain.
you know, like the early show, and it was like 7:00, and it was like maybe so like let's say concluding the Cine Bistro crowd about maybe less than 30 people, and I didn't see anybody in that movie theater that was younger than me.
Here's the thing: it doesn't take much for a bit of news to get out there.
No,
You could have a news story on one small news channel in some bumfucking nowhere city, and you know, Nebraska. And that's going to get all over the place within a couple of minutes. People are going to start sharing it online. People are going to be writing articles on different websites. People in that area are going to see that. They're going to be like, oh, hey, CNN, look at this. Everyone's going to be covering it. Word gets around that your movie sucks.
Right.
And they killed John Connor in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And people are going to lose their
if those secrets
shit,
are coming out that fast, then you know there's problems, because that means the people on the movie, even the people on the set, are like not proud of what they're doing. All right,
I was going to go see
that.
I was going to go see Dark Fate.
Yeah,
and as soon as I saw a spoiler about it, I saw what was the channel that I was watching? The guy makes great videos. It's I mean, it's a big channel. It's not like it's a small channel or anything. It was yeah, it was the Dave Cullen show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh my god. And the dude's awesome, but he gave a spoiler review of Dark Fate. Dude, as soon as I heard about John Connor dying, nope.
I usually don't do spoiler videos, but I told my channel, it's like, based on what I see, we'll decide if it's a spoiler video or not. If it's terrible, if it's a terrible movie, I'm going full spoilers. Fuck it. And,
if the movie I don't care about, then yeah. But if I'm like,
I wanted people to
it,
know why they weren't going to have to waste their time to go see it, you know?
Exactly. And I had a, you know, it wasn't even me who really wanted to see it. It was my girlfriend. And my girlfriend
for me, it was my channel.
I was like,
people on my channel were arguing. They're like, you go see it, you'll see. I'm like, okay, I'll go see it. And I saw that it was a lot of smoke and mirrors.
But yeah, man, if people had more, you know,
I mean, you're making a good point right now, because it's like there's a reason why they have test audiences. There's a reason why they have market research, which they just don't do when they make movies anymore. There's no fucking way they do any kind of market research when they manufacture these movies. They just, all they do is they see, oh, something made $1 billion. We have to make 15 sequels to this movie with all the exact same scenes over and over again, so that people will come back and see it over and over and over again.
Exactly. And you know, I wish studios would take more pride in their art, not their work, because the word work just doesn't really sound that appealing. And if you're making a movie that's supposed to, you know, be a piece of art, work just kind of makes it sound like it's just like, oh, get it over with. I got to do it.
Yeah, dude. I don't want to come off like I'm an artsy fartsy hipster, because I mean, there are movies that are vision, like one person's vision, and they have very low budgets. They're called art films. You know, I'm not into that kind of stuff. I'm not a hipster. You know, yeah, Mother. You know, a lot of like A23 movies. You know, but some of those are actually good. Okay,
some of them, but
some of them are, but. You and I want to see something that's more of a spectacle, but something that has some kind of a vision behind it. It's almost like we're chasing a unicorn at this point. And these studios are so afraid of losing their money that they assemble these films by committee, and then they wonder why people are just bored. You know,
exactly.
Why I don't even know if something like Star Wars ever would have gotten made in 2019 or whatever. I don't even think it would have been possible.
Nah.
Science fiction, especially. Science fiction always takes it in the nuts when it comes to because for most science fiction movies to be good, you have to have at least $100 million plus budget to get the special effects right.
There's so much shit out there too that just floods the science fiction market that if you're
but then you also have to have it written well, and you have to have it directed well, you have to have a decent performance inside of it, and try to get all of those things into the same movie is almost difficult to impossible to make anymore.
And there's very little fresh visions out there anymore.
That's the sad part. There are fresh visions out there. It's just they don't get
Not
made
many.
because too many studios want to double down on brand recognition rather than try to come up with anything original. It could be, a lot of
Exactly.
people are still reeling from the failure that was John Carter. John Carter was the movie that Disney put like 200 million into and made nothing. Like it lost.
Was it a good movie?
I don't remember. I fell asleep watching most of it. I tried watching
Nice.
It's kind of it was an old story, so at least they were going off of an old book. But the fact that it just didn't take with audiences, I think it had a little bit too much CG, and I'm not really sure why. I need to sit down and actually watch it again to figure out why it didn't work. You know what I mean? It's kind of along the lines of Valerian, where it was just a little too out there for people to accept. So whenever a movie like that fails, it always sets sci-fi back like another 10, 12 films that just don't get made because of that. Because studios are they're so afraid of losing money that they have to double down on a sure thing. Because they're making movies for investors, they're not making movies for an audience.
Yeah, it's more about pre-planning ahead. It's more about, making sure you have something next on the agenda to make, and it's never, let's see how the first one goes, see how that is, see how the audience takes to it, and if it does succeed, then we can make another one. But instead, these people pre-plan sequels, they pre-plan prequels,
announce a trilogy before the first movie's even out. It's like, come on.
Yep, and we talked about that a little bit last night on the boardroom, but yeah, and you're absolutely right. And
people, I don't understand what's so hard about it either. It's like, everybody has the internet at the tip of their fingers 24/7 with your phones and your computers, your laptops, even your fucking gaming systems are connected to the internet. You mean to tell me that you can't send somebody out in a group somewhere, like a movie group, and just ask them like, hey, what would you guys like to see a big company like Disney or Warner Brothers make? Would you, if you want an original sci-fi movie, what would be your pitch? You mean to tell me they can't go out and do that for free and see how many reactions, see how many reactions they would get?
Yeah.
It's not like you have to pay expensive market research to figure out what the hell people want. They're telling you what they want.
Oh yeah,
that's why a billion people went to go see Joker. They wanted to see it because it was an isolated movie. It was rated R, and it wasn't afraid to take risks, and it didn't worry about the politics behind it. It just went, and it's still going.
I still need to see that movie.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah, I'm down for it though.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's crazy is that
they
worry about the craft. There's like 3 showings in my theater here in town. I'll probably go see it soon.
Nice,
but it's more about the craft than it should be more about the craft than anything. It should be about honoring the legacy of a character if it's been around for a long time. If it's a new character,
well, that's why
you can manipulate it and mold it to what you want it to be. Now, whether it's something that me or you agree with, that's completely different. Because if it's a new character, that's all on you to make. Or whoever's making it. That's all.
If they would just pump the brakes on the franchise shit, that's part of the problem. Is they keep wanting to chase all this brand recognition. It's like, well, every time you do that, now you're restricted. Okay, you're restricted to the fans. You're restricted to the films that came before it.
Exactly.
You have to get that right. All right, and I don't blame audiences for not being pissed off because I'm tired of it myself. I don't want any more sequels made to anything I like because they never fucking get it right. You know what I mean? It's like
everything in moderation.
Right.
And
everything in moderation.
SpongeBob and Nickelodeon have done. SpongeBob's been around since 1999.
Right. They're not cranking those out every year.
There's not 20 seasons of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
So they obviously take time to do video games. They take time to do the TV show. They take time to do
video
movies.
games can be argued too, especially when there's a new Call of Duty sequel every fucking October. So
the best SpongeBob video game was Battle for Bikini Bottom, and then the SpongeBob movie video game. Those were both great. But I'm going off another subject. But the thing is, it's like I was going off of just a couple minutes ago. You need to honor the character, the story, and the craft and the art that came before when you were in charge. Steven Hillenburg was the creator for SpongeBob. He passed away last year. He obviously created SpongeBob and had a huge influence on people all over the world. If you fuck up that franchise, then everyone's going to point fingers at you, and you're going to be the blame for it. Because when he was alive, it was good. It's still good from all I'm concerned. But
that means people respect the art. Yeah.
And that's exactly the opposite of what Lucasfilm has done to George Lucas. George Lucas has made all of these. And for all I'm concerned, Star Wars is the most relevant franchise and the most important franchise in movie history and science fiction history. You can say all you want about Star Trek. I mean, it came before it, but still, Star Wars is the most important when it comes to movies, when it comes to story, when it comes to characters, icons, and
it borrows a little bit from everything. Yeah.
Yes,
it's
and it's very,
I just think
it's so important.
You should just pump the brakes on sequels and reboots anyway, man, because there's a lot. We talked about this a little bit last night, and I won't get too farther into it, but
yeah,
there are original directors like Ridley Scott who have gone back and made sequels to his own stuff that unravel everything that was made wonderful by the first one. And to some degree, Lucas's prequels kind of unraveled his own stuff too. So even the people that create this stuff can't necessarily get their own franchise right. You know what I mean? There's expectations. The point is if you do a sequel or a reboot, you have expectations. Whereas if you try to make something similar, you don't have those expectations. You can take two kinds of movie genres and bend them together and make something new.
But here's the thing. He never shit on the OT, though, when he made the prequels. And that was a big
Some
thing.
people think so, though. A lot of people, it didn't sit well that, Darth Vader was played by Jake Lloyd or Hayden Christensen.
Well, he was a little...
Some people can't identify that,
Yeah, well, people need to get their head out of their ass if they're that butthurt about it.
But it's a fair assessment. I mean, if people feel that way, I
mean, they can feel all they want. Yeah, but I mean, you have a little kid,
right,
who's trying to play the child version of the greatest movie villain of all time.
It's been argued to death for years.
How are you gonna? Yeah, and how are you gonna put all of that weight on that kid's shoulders and say he sucks?
That's why they never.
You got to be a little bit understanding here when
they
it comes
probably
to that.
Shouldn't have made Anakin a kid. They probably should have started him off as a teen and a Padawan and ignored the whole mother's pod race shit, and just started from there and gone up. You could have maybe developed him out a little bit better. We didn't need to see him as a kid. And I think that's part of the problem right there that put a lot of people off. We could,
if they made him a little bit older, I would have understood that.
Yes, I think that would have been a better cause.
If they made him at least like 11 or 12, he's a little bit older, a little bit more self-aware. Yeah, and he still would have the same reactions to leaving his mom as he would when he was a little kid.
I think he was trying to illustrate a point that he came from a place of ignorance and innocence and didn't want for anything, and then became this horrible thing. That was the story he was trying to tell. I get it. Yeah,
I think he developed him somewhat well. Attack of the Clones was a little bit of a jump, and I mean, everybody has their opinions on it. I like it. I understand some parts are slow, and it's kind of a it's kind of a wet fart in certain areas, not so much the whole movie, but
because the sand is coarse.
The writing could have been a little bit better for that.
Yeah,
they didn't have to focus too much on the romantics of.
He's trying to do this Romeo and Juliet thing, and it was just coming off as cringy, man.
Which is, I mean, did it hurt the franchise? No. Did it put people to sleep? Yeah. But
I still went and saw those movies a couple times at the theaters. Yeah,
I'll take what I can get because a lot of that movie is really cool.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, when it's the
Yoda,
creator,
that's all I'm gonna say.
When it's the creator, besides the whole OT changes like the Greedo and Han thing, I mean, George never really fucking ruined anything. Neither has Nickelodeon. I mean, I'm going to knock on wood here. Neither has Nickelodeon with SpongeBob, and neither has, I mean, I want to say Sonic because it's not really that big a franchise to really take too much from.
Right.
But I'm going to give credit to where credit's due.
Moral of the story,
that studio is holy shit. Thank you so much for listening to fans. Thank you for being reasonable and not cussing out people like directors for Star Wars or any other franchise. And
nope, they didn't fight.
You know
with the
what?
Audience,
I give you, a round of applause for being so open to, you want to make money, but you also want to make people happy.
It's a good way to earn some goodwill, and I'm willing to give him a pat on the back for at least making a damn good trailer. Because seeing that last trailer and then this, because I remember everything about that last trailer because I've seen it so many times, and then
it gives you hope.
One, it shows me that that somebody cares about the product that he's trying to sell to people. And something else I want to mention too. Hollywood, stop chasing the past, man. Stop living in the past. Stop trying to chase old money. Try to make new money. Try to make a new audience. Figure out what people liked in the past.
Yeah.
Try to make something similar but different. That's the key.
And if you want to use a franchise that was never really used, so in this sense for Sonic, no one's really made a Sonic movie.
I don't think so. No, not that I'm aware of. If they did, maybe it was animated. Yeah.
I honestly don't care about that. But when you take a movie that was made 10 years ago and then you try to reboot it, or 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, you don't need to reboot that fucking shit.
And try to market it towards all these different demographics, and you fucking side to the original thing, and it sucks.
Exactly. And it's at the point now where it's too much and it's unnecessary. But Sonic, dude, this is fresh. And what's really important is that movies aren't just something to watch in the theater and then buy it on DVD and then maybe watch it every now and then. It's a very, very movies are a very big part of people's lives, especially kids growing up. They impact people and they remember that forever, for the rest of their lives, certain movies. And if you can make that much of an impact on a kid, like a lot of movies that I saw in the theaters as a kid had an impact on me, then that makes your childhood. And that's something you can always think back on. But like, I remember seeing this with my parents, and this movie was great, and I liked the video games, and I played them after.
And the movies that are coming out now are trying to cash in on that nostalgia that you got. That's part of the problem. There is they're still chasing that nostalgia money. They're like, oh wow, I remember when E.T. was great. Fuck, we got to make E.T. again. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing right now. And
are they? What, oh, fuck, are they really?
No, but I'm just saying that's their mentality. It's just a matter of time before they do something like that. Like I can mention probably 3 or 4 movies from when I was growing up. It's like okay, you know, E.T., Star Wars, Indiana Jones, all those things came out. You know what I mean? And I remember them. Then yeah, they had a big impact on me. Terminator. You know, I mean,
but it's about the movie first rather than just trying to make.
Yeah, I love the movies. I don't love the brand. You know, I can tell you right now, Aliens, dude. As much as I love Aliens, there's 2 good movies. One of them my favorite, which is the second one, believe it or not. The rest of them, give a shit.
It's just the fucking formula for science fiction and fantasy movies. It's just let's make a couple of them,
you know what?
And then let's just dish them out.
That was a franchise that was made by blending horror with science fiction at the same time, and it worked.
I like to call it the Sharknado formula. You make a ridiculous movie, and then it just gets more ridiculous as each sequel comes around.
Right. Yep. Each sequel is how many C-list characters can we squeeze into cameos? That's where all the budget goes.
Exactly. So it's, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see if SpongeBob's good. I'm definitely going to go see it in theaters. I'm definitely going to buy it on Blu-ray. And
I'm hoping it works.
I'm definitely going to be buying more SpongeBob shit because I love SpongeBob. It's a franchise I've been, you know, part of, not a part of, but I mean, a fan of. I don't know why I said a part of. I don't work for them. I'd like to. It'd be kind of cool. Nickelodeon, I'll hire me. But I love SpongeBob, and I like Nickelodeon stuff. Except the TV, like the sitcom shows with the kids. Like after iCarly and Victorious, they got dumb. I'm going on another rant here, but anyways,
I wouldn't mind seeing Jim Carrey make a comeback. I've been talking about that for years.
Yes,
there's a lot of comedians that I think need to stop. Like, you know, I know we don't agree on it, but like Will Ferrell needs to take a break. Okay, I've had enough Will Ferrell.
I respect your take on it.
But Jim Carrey is one that I would actually like to see come back. I think he still has
it would be fresh.
A couple of moments for him to shine again, because the guy is naturally funny in his comedic timing, and I'm kind of hoping that he uses this movie as a platform to get back on the horse again.
And I'm all for supporting Jim Carrey for a comeback. I'm all for seeing him making good content. I'm all for seeing him make new content, new movies, fresh ideas.
Make a new generation happy again. Show them why we laughed at you so much in the 90s, bro.
Yes. And I mean, I don't want to see a Mask sequel. I don't want to see A Liar Liar sequel.
I don't want to see Ace Ventura 3.
I wouldn't mind seeing another Ace Ventura, but
I
you
don't
got
know,
to
man.
you got to really, really, really be fresh with the ideas and the writing. It has to be good. You can't do the same thing they did in the past 2 movies. You can't bring them back to Miami and work on the Dolphins. You
How
can't.
old is Jim Carrey? Like 50, 60, somewhere around there? Maybe mid to late 50s. I don't want to see him doing, alrighty then. I just don't. I really don't, dude. I think it might be awkward.
Let's look that up. Jim Carrey is 57 years old. Holy
Yep.
shit.
See what I'm saying? You want to see
Holy
a
crap, he has the same birthday as
57-year-old
me,
walk
January
around
17th.
going, alrighty then. Like
great.
a glove.
Same birthday as me. That's cool.
Yeah, he can be funny, but I don't really need to see him come back and do more Ace Ventura movies again. Because even when Nature Calls was it like a bit of a step down from the first one. Because those kind of movies, when you see them for the first time, they're so ridiculous that they're funny. But then when you're watching it again, you're just watching him do more of it. The jokes kind of like don't necessarily land. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, he doesn't need to do any more sequels for those other movies. I could do another Ace Ventura movie, but it doesn't have to be a big budget one.
I had an idea for a movie a long time ago, dude, and I actually started writing a script for it because I was bored, as I like to write. Okay, and my idea was I wanted to make a parody of like all of the TV cop show procedurals, like Law and Order and CSI and all that. And I saw an episode once where I got the idea was I saw an episode. I think he was on Letterman, and he was doing his impression of David Caruso from CSI Miami. And of course, Jim Carrey, he always gives 150% every performance. He just absolutely fucking nailed David Caruso doing with the sunglasses thing. And he's like, I before E except after C. And then the band was like, yeah, like the intro of CSI Miami. And I'm like, what if you had Jim Carrey pretending to be David Caruso through an entire movie that's also a parody of every procedural cop show that you've ever seen, Law and Order, CSI, any of those, dark crimes or whatever the hell they're called, just a parody movie like the Naked Gun series, but led by Jim Carrey playing his best David Caruso impression. I think that would be funny stuff.
Certain movies like that I could see. But
yeah. That's the kind of thing
we
that
don't need another Dumb and Dumber
doing. Yeah, no,
we don't need another
Dumb and
Bruce
Dumber.
Almighty.
That's something they don't really do anymore because that one company that kept making those disaster movies and date movie and all that kind of stuff, they kind of ran it into the ground. But parody movies used to be funny, like Airplane and Top Secret, and I always thought those movies were hilarious, dude. And we don't really get that anymore, And I would like to see, but ultimately they came out with a TV show that was similar to that idea that I had. It was I'm trying to remember the name of it. It had the girl from Parks and Rec in there.
Oh,
I'm thinking of. I can't remember.
Is it starts with A? Her name?
Yep, something like that.
Aubrey.
No, not Aubrey Plaza. The other one. Hold on, I'll tell you the name of the show in just a second. Keep talking.
Let me think of who it is. Is it Amy Poehler?
Not Amy Poehler. Amy Poehler's friend, actually.
The one from The Office.
And I never watched The Office.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I watched like 4 episodes of The Office, and I just couldn't get into it.
No, the one movie though that I wish they really would have made sequels for, and that really kind of bummed me out that they didn't. It was the Lemony Snicket's A Series for Unfortunate Events for Jim Carrey.
Did you watch that on Netflix? That was actually pretty good.
I didn't watch the new one.
I watched a season of that.
Harris.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I enjoyed that.
I really wanted to see the sequel with Jim Carrey. Man, if they kept those movies going, that would have been awesome. Because I remember seeing that in theaters, and God, I had such a good time.
Her name is Rashida Jones. I'm trying to find the name of that TV show that she was on because it's exactly the script that Angie Tribeca. That's what it's called. Angie Tribeca is a parody of Law and Order. It's on. I don't know what network that's on, but I don't even know if it's still on. I think they might have canceled it. But they were trying to do a parody of the Law and Order procedurals, and she was the head of it. And I just thought something like that would have made a funny movie if you had Jim Carrey doing a David Caruso impression. Then you just had all these people being exaggerated versions of all these characters we remembered from these procedurals, and you had montages in it and making funny noises in between scenes, and instead of the clink clink from Law and Order, you like changed it up every single frame. I started writing it and then I just kind of lost interest in it. But I just thought that would have been funny stuff, man.
That would have been awesome. But I forgot Jim Carrey was in Kick-Ass 2.
Yes.
I've never seen that one. I saw the first one, but
yep, I've seen them both. I don't remember the second one. I kind of remember most of the first one's been a long time since I've seen it, though. I thought it was kind of good at the time, but then Deadpool came out, and I thought that was like way better.
Deadpool's way better. I want to see Kick-Ass 2 now, though.
Yeah.
I need to go find this online and go watch it because
it's not as good as the original, but
I don't expect.
Then again, neither is Deadpool 2. So
I just want to see Jim Carrey.
With comedies, man, is comedies are always funniest when it's the first time you've seen it. But when you do a sequel to it, it doesn't necessarily become better than the original. Comedy sequels kind of just never really work for me because it's always funnier. It's always funnier the first time you see it. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go watch this. Shit. All right, found my next movie I'm gonna go see. Besides the Joker, I want to see Zombieland too. Zombieland is still in theaters.
Zombieland was good. I actually saw that, and I was going to do a review for it, but I realized that movie's been out like way too long. Nobody would watch that video if I did it. But
I'd watch it.
I saw that. I went and saw that the same night I saw Terminator. I did a double feature. I'm like, okay, the only way I'm going to be able to do this, because you guys are all worried about me, and I'm like, I'll sit through the Terminator, but then I'll see something better right afterwards, just to wash the stink of whatever it was I saw off of my mind.
Oh man, if I was as big of a Terminator fan as you, I'd be pretty fucking pissed. And
not really, dude, because like I said, man, it's like I know that the franchise blows, and the expectations were just not there for me at all. I just was expecting nothing, and I got
fact that
nothing.
It takes a dump on the ones that you like. That
was kind of shitty, But then again, I just even on the way home, I told myself, I'm like, whatever, man. I'm like, the movies I still love still exist, and they can pry them from my cold dead hands,
Unless Disney buys them.
Yeah, but I have the discs, so Disney can do whatever the fuck they want with them. They're not going to come into my house and take those things away from me. True. In fact, that arm that's behind me, if I was to open that box up, there's a 4K copy of T2 in there.
Cool.
So,
well, as far as movies go, we got some ones we're looking forward to.
Hey-o.
And we got some ones we're not really looking forward to. So I will be seeing the Rise of Skywalker, and Pete will as well. So half the boardroom will be.
Another good point, Cody, is you just made a video about two things that we're excited about, which is proof that the Fandom Menace doesn't just shit all over everything. We can be excited about things too and happy.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
it's a good point.
Well, yeah. And it's crazy. I looked up the Fandom Menace on Google, the Googlies, and the definition, it was just like a group of people on the internet that bitch and moan about everything. It's like, nah.
That's how they view us. Yep.
Everybody bitches about everything, but I mean, I really, I like a lot of stuff, but when it comes to the biggest franchise that I love, which is Star Wars, it's crumbling, and that's a big effect on me because I've put so much into that franchise, and I've collected and been a fan of it since I was a little kid. And if you see my room, I'm not going to show you, but if you see my room, I have Star Wars shit all over the place.
I do too.
So it sucks. So being a fan of it, I want to fight for the franchise that I love, but at the same time, I don't want to support the current franchise because of how bad the leadership has been. But when you see all these other ones, like I love Spider-Man. So the Spider-Man video game that came out, I will support the living shit out of that. I will support Deadpool. I will support the MCU as long as they don't make any bad movies, as long as they stay consistent and respect the characters. I will give Marvel all the monies if they keep doing a good job. I loved Infinity War. I loved Endgame. Black Panther was cool. Just to list off some recent ones, I liked Thor Ragnarok, even though I disagree kind of on how they went with Thor in certain areas. But overall, I like Ragnarok. did not like Captain Marvel. I do not like the new Spider-Man movies, but I still love Spider-Man the character. And I want good movies to be made.
You
As
never
far
get
as
a
Star
chance.
Wars,
You never
as
get
far
a
as-
chance to see it, but when I turn my camera on, I know my camera's always pointed all my Terminator stuff, but
Yeah.
on the wall that's behind the camera is my autographed picture of Peter Mayhew.
That is cool.
Three different Star Wars tins that I got hanging up. Empire Strikes Back, Millennium Falcon
That is
blueprint. There's a comic book tin of Empire Strikes Back, and then over on the other wall is a picture of me getting hugged by Chewie at Disney World.
cool. That is awesome.
So and there's a little Yoda puppet here, that one of those Yoda backpacks I bought when I was at Star Wars before it became Galaxy's Edge. It was just called MGM Studios, or
Cool.
Star Wars Studios or whatever. But
They
so,
used
yeah,
to do a really good job with the Star Wars stuff before Disney bought it. Like
Yeah.
back in 05, they had Star Wars weekends, and I remember
they
going
really?
there as a kid. And
that was
they
long
had
before I moved here. I'm sorry.
they I mean, Disney was already really big with Star Wars, but Star Wars was still Star Wars. So
I
had
enjoyed
people
some of
dressed
it,
up
but
as-
I know that I was really pissed off when I was there that there was a lot of more attention done to sequel era stuff than anything that came before it. Like when they had the Stormtroopers march, and it's always the First Order troopers led by Captain Phasma.
yeah,
And
they
all I
don't
can
do
think of
any-
is like, well, there's that
anything else.
dumb character that they did nothing with. Looks cool
Yeah.
when she marches, but that's about it.
They don't do anything with the OT and prequels anymore. But
No.
when you go,
I was just
back
happy
then,
to see Darth Maul show up. I'm like, well, at least I got Darth Maul.
Darth Maul's cool.
Yes, he is.
When I was a kid, this was like 06, 05, 06. And after Revenge of the Sith came out, and they did the Star Wars weekends at MGM Studios. I know we're going a little bit over time, but just real quick, they had all these prequel and OT characters. They had Stormtrooper, like the legitimate Stormtroopers, not the First Order bullshit. They had legitimate Stormtroopers walking around all over the place, kind of messing with kids and stuff, being cool, like kind of bossing them around in a playful way, kind of like move along.
Yeah, they still do that.
Just saying dumb shit like that. And then you had like Mace Windu, you'd have Kit Fisto, Commander Cody, and people running around.
They didn't have all of them, but they definitely had stormtroopers walking around all day long, and then they'd have the march that would go through periodically throughout the park. So
they had this thing on stage where little kids basically at a Jedi temple, and this one Jedi comes out and he pulls kids from the crowd, and you can get up on stage. They give you a robe and they give you a lightsaber to use, and you can fight Darth Vader or Darth Maul, depending on if you're on stage or off stage. They had Darth Maul right below stage, just on the floor, right near all the audience, and then they had Vader on stage. And I got to fight Vader. And out of all the little lightsabers that they had, it was the plastic ones that hang on the shelves that go all the way into the hilt, and you just push the button down and you can flick it out. I had the only purple lightsaber, and I was like, this is fucking cool.
Nice.
And I whooped Darth Vader's ass. And then they gave you like this big bag full of like you got a couple action figures from the Revenge of the Sith line. You got some other collectible shit. I can't remember what else was in there, but I remember I got a Chewbacca and a clone trooper, Revenge of the Sith clone trooper figures in the package still. And they just gave that shit to you. They was like, here you go. Just imagine going to a Disney park, but when you go to all the gift shops, you see all of the
only thing I got when I was
area.
there, this was 2 years ago. The only thing they gave me for free was a button, because it was the first time I'd ever been there. That's what I got, a button.
Nice.
Yep.
It's gonna be worth a lot one day.
Wasn't a Star Wars button, it was just a button. Yeah.
But that is cool. But
Sure.
Disney used to be
You say so.
it's gonna be worth a lot of money, man. I'm telling you.
All right. I still have it. I keep it in the Yoda backpack just so I don't
A
lose it.
fortune.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, man. These movies that we just saw trailers for, I'm hoping they're gonna be good. But the fight doesn't end for good movies, good content, and just, very, very level-headed material and writing. And then we have all these other bigger blockbuster movies that are coming out, and they just look like a fucking dumpster fire. So Adam, any closing remarks before we head out?
Yeah, I don't want to end it on a sad remark, man. This, as much as we dump on things, it's been a decent year for movies, I think, because we had The Joker was a huge success. We had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a huge success, and then we had some movies that might not have been like dominated the box office, but they were still fun. And I think movies like that need to exist too, like Godzilla versus the Godzilla King of the Monsters. I enjoyed that movie a lot. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I like the fact that movies like that exist where you can just kind of go and have some decent escapism and not have a bunch of politics shoved into it or make a movie that's supposed to appeal to all these dumb demographics that probably don't care about this stuff in general. But I do think that the tide is shifting towards people just want quality entertainment, and we're past the point where people can be just entertained by a special effect. It used to be in the late 90s, early 2000s, special effects alone could sell a movie, and that's not the case anymore. It's not enough. It has to be an actor that people recognize, or something. It has to just be a good trailer, and we just watched 2 decent trailers right now of movies that we would consider going to see, because that's what we want more of. We just want it to be good. It doesn't have to be this type of movie. It doesn't have to be a Star Wars movie. It doesn't have to be Lord of the Rings. It just has to be something that show me a decent trailer. And I argue with people a lot online and says, okay, well, you can't judge a movie by its trailer. Bullshit. That's a sample of what you see. And especially the fact that most trailers are a lot longer than they need to be nowadays. They're showing you all the most important parts of the movie right there. So if you can't give me a good trailer, that means that the sample that you took from is not quality work. So those 2 movies those 2 trailers we saw look pretty good. And that's how it's supposed to work. If I like the trailer and it looks pretty good, it looks entertaining, it's something I would like to see. I think it's going to be a slow process, but it is starting to get better. So
I hope so, man.
Let's end it on that note.
I really hope so, because I love going to the movies, man.
I do too.
Fun.
It's always
I like walking
thing,
out with this good, satisfied feeling.
Right.
Like,
the smell of popcorn, all of that. Just everything. I don't want to get to a point where I don't go to movies anymore. So in fact, I'm thinking about doubling down and seeing more movies going forward.
Can't wait, man.
Yeah.
But hey, SpongeBob's coming out next year. You also got Sonic coming out. When's Sonic coming out again? Is it this year or next year? Next year, right?
They said next year. Yeah. 2020.
So we got 2 cool animated movies coming out soon.
And they took their time with it. And that's great that they took their time with it.
So it's going to be awesome. Guys, thanks for tuning in. If you did, if not, hit the like button if you can on your way out. Hit the bell for notifications. Subscribe to Goober Brothers Entertainment, and also subscribe to Raiders of the Lost Flicks, and support Adam and his brand, his website, goingraidersoftheLostFlicks.com, to check out more cool info, new articles, new videos on entertainment coming up. Adam, thanks for coming on today, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. And also check out tomorrow night. We're going to have Grindhouse a Go-Go with my 2 friends, MJ and Pete from ETEP Coolion's A Place to Be Reviews. We'll be there. We'll be my guest tomorrow night. We're going to be doing a variety show. And tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is my inaugural show. Join us for that. It's going to be like a variety show, and I'm going to be doing it every week going forward. So tomorrow is episode 1. Don't miss it.
Cool. And also, everybody subscribe to all of our channels. So Goober Brothers Entertainment, Raiders of the Lost Flicks, Eat Queen's A Place to Be Reviews, and 2 Cent Toys by Salvador Perez. If you could subscribe to all of our channels, we do a Wednesday show every night at 8:35 p.m.
It's
called The Boardroom. So it is a little mini-ish High Council type show. Same spice as the High Council, but a little bit smaller. Same fandom menace fighting spirit. And also, we like to have fun there. So, without further ado, I am Goober Brothers Entertainment, or as I like to call myself, the supernatural representative of the Florida Man delegation. And we also have, to my right, Adam, the Minister of Film.
Hi.
So, everybody, have a great day. Have a fun weekend. Take care.
Peace.